Have you ever made a design that just feels a little off? Maybe a bit cheap or just not quite hitting that professional mark? Well, today we're going to dive into the number one reason that happens: color contrast. And we are going to fix it. So let's just ask the questions straight up. You've spent hours on the layout, all the features are there, but something's just not right. Why does your UI look, well, unprofessional? And here's the honest answer. 90% of the time, the culprit is your color choice. It's such a classic beginner trap. You use colors that are way too bright, you throw random combinations together, or you pick a low contrast palette that just screams amateur. Okay, so let's get right into it by looking at the most common mistakes. Seriously, these are the color combos that can single-handedly kill any trust in your design before a user even reads a single word. First up, what I call the visual clash. Bright red on bright blue? It's a classic mistake. The colors literally vibrate against each other, and it's just plain uncomfortable to look at. The fix is so simple: high contrast. Just look at how much cleaner and more professional that white on dark blue feels, night and day. And next, completely unreadable text. Putting yellow text on a white background, it has almost zero contrast. I mean, it's physically difficult for a user to even try to read that. But look, a quick switch to a nice dark gray, and it's instantly legible and super clean. This brings us to a really huge issue: accessibility. Using light gray text on a white background is a massive failure. A huge portion of your users, especially those with visual impairments, just won't be able to see your content. This isn't just a bad design choice, it's exclusionary design. Now, here's one that might surprise you. Can contrast actually be too high? Oh, absolutely. Pure black text on a pure white background can be really harsh and cause eye strain, especially if you're reading for a while. That's why you almost never see it in modern UI. Professionals go for a softer touch, like a dark gray on a slightly off-white background. It's so much easier on the eyes. So here's the main takeaway from all this. The secret to professional design isn't about finding some magical, undiscovered color. It's about a simple principle that all the pros live by: high contrast, balanced colors, and of course, consistency. So, if that's the principle, how do you actually do it? Let's get into the secret weapon that every pro designer uses to get their colors right, every single time. It's all about the contrast ratio. It really all comes down to something called the contrast ratio. Now, don't let the name scare you. To put it simply, it's just a score that tells you exactly how readable your text is against its background. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation. You only need to remember two key numbers. The first one is 4.5 to 1. This is the official industry standard, from the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. Think of it as the non-negotiable absolute minimum for your normal body text. And the second number you gotta know is 3 to 1. This is the standard for large text, like your big headlines. Because the font is bigger, you can get away with a little less contrast. If you just stick to these two ratios, I promise you your UI will instantly look cleaner and be way more accessible. Okay, so how do we actually pick colors that hit these standards? Here are 4 dead simple strategies. You can pair a dark color with a light one, mix a vibrant, saturated color with a more muted one, use your main brand color alongside some simple neutrals, or, my personal favorite, just get a head start by using a color palette tool. And speaking of tools, if you're ever stuck, please don't guess. Use a dedicated tool. Websites like Coolers, Material Palette, or Color Hunt are amazing because they give you pre-made palettes that are already professionally balanced. They're a fantastic way to get inspired and make sure your colors just work. All right, that's enough theory. The best way to learn this stuff is by actually doing it. So let's jump into a practical example and see how we can fix a pretty bad design by applying these exact principles. Okay, just look at the before card on the left. Wow. We've got that bright blue background, the impossible-to-read yellow text, and a clashing red button. It feels chaotic, almost childish. Now, watch this. Step 1, we swap the background for a soft, neutral gray. Step 2, the text becomes a dark, super readable charcoal. And step 3, the button is now a clear brand orange with clean white text. And look at that. Just 3 tiny changes, and the whole thing feels professional, calm, and honestly trustworthy. And here's one more quick fix just to really hammer this point home. If you take one thing away today, let it be this. Please stop using light gray text on a white background. It fails accessibility checks every single time. Always go for a dark, rich gray like hashtag 333333. It's way softer on the eyes than pure black, but still gives you perfect clarity. So to wrap all this up, I want to leave you with a simple checklist that you can use on literally every project. Think of these as your 5 golden rules for getting a premium-looking UI every single time. 1. Stick to a 3-color rule: a primary, a secondary, and a neutral color. That's it. 2. Always keep your text high contrast, usually on a light background. 3. Your buttons have to be noticeable and super clear. 4. Save your really bright, vibrant colors for the important stuff, highlights and calls to action, not for backgrounds. And 5. Just promise me you will never, ever use yellow, neon green, or baby blue for important text. You follow these rules, and you're golden. So let's end on this final thought. Getting your contrast right doesn't just make your UI look better. It's what makes it usable and professional. It's not just about making things pretty. It's about making your design accessible and building trust. And really, that's the foundation of any great user experience. So if you found this helpful, let us know. But more importantly, tell us down in the comments, what design topic should we break down for you next? Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.